Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. The closer we get to the start of the baseball season, the more ticked off I get about the Houston Astros. To start with, my two favorite non-Indian players were Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman, but not anymore. There are plenty of flaws to the game of baseball, and now owners like Houston owner Jim Crane will be making decisions like the stupid realignment of the playoffs, the DH, starting each extra inning with a runner on second base, and so on. And people like Crane don't think sign stealing has any effect on the game, and the players shouldn't be punished for their parts in the scandal. Baseball is hurting, and they're coming pretty close to losing the good fans they have, good fans like me. We've got Hoynesy, Paul Hoynes, More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 24th consecutive year, seen exclusively on cleveland.com, as is Paul Hoynes, otherwise known as Hoynesy, Cleveland Plain Dealer and the cleveland.com. Hoynesy, I know you start thinking about spring training, another season, and then you drive through the weather that we have here. You say, I can't wait to find my flight getting out of here.
That's exactly right, Les. It's nice to get into the sunshine for a while.
All right, so when are you heading toward the desert?
I'm going this weekend, Sunday, and I'll be down there for about 7 or 8 days. And then I'll come back, and then I'll go back down at the end of spring training again.
Oh, so you have one of those minor league contracts. If you make the 40-man squad, you're okay.
That's right.
What is everyone different? Every spring training different? Different storylines, different players, or do you take it the same way?
Yeah, I think there's always different storylines. You know, one year you have a good rotation. You're covering a team with a good rotation. The other year, you know, you've got questions about the offense. You know, maybe a new manager to cover. You know, stuff like it all changes, but you know, the routine of it never really changes.
You still enjoy it?
Yes, yeah, I like it a lot, definitely.
Yeah, it is work, though. A lot of people think you're on 7 month vacation.
I've never brought my golf clubs to spring training. I don't have golf clubs anyways.
That's why, if you had some, you might be able to do that. All right, tell me what's going on in baseball, because I'm very mad at the game itself. I'm very mad at the owners. I'm very mad at the commissioner. Where do I begin, or should I just get over it?
You know, I think you speak for a lot of fans, Les. I've talked to, you know, exchanging emails with a lot of people, a lot of fans. I mean, I think there's a serious question about the integrity of the game. And I don't know, you know, at first I thought Manfred came down hard enough on the Astros. But, you know, now as more stuff comes out, more information comes out, you know, I think he came up short in some regards. I thought, you know, the only way he got the information was to give the players, you know, immunity.
Sure.
But I think some players have got to be held accountable for this. And it seems like they're skating, and we haven't even really found out what Boston, you know, what that investigation into the Red Sox will reveal.
Are you buying the apologies coming out of the Houston camp, or did it sound too contrived to you?
Well, it's certainly contrived. You know, they took a long time to you know, put it together in spring training. I think the guys that have already left the club, you know, Morton and Dallas Keuchel, those guys were much more, and Gonzalez, you know, were much more forthcoming than any of the players still on the Astros.
How about Jim Crane, the owner of the Houston Astros? First of all, he said, whatever he said, he denied saying it 5 seconds later.
Yeah, it had no impact on the game.
Right.
And then,
so I didn't say that. Well, yeah, you actually did.
Yeah, I think, you know, this is a guy that, you know, was fined $5 million. You know, that's the biggest fine MLB could levy against an owner. You know, I think, and he said he had he knew nothing of this. But if you're the guy, if you're running the ship, you get the blame. You know, you're the captain of the ship is the last guy off when it's sinking.
All right, the guy says the sign stealing had nothing to do with anything, didn't impact the game. That's a guy who knows absolutely nothing about the game of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to any of the players from the other team, they'll tell you. I mean, it had everything to do with the outcome of the game. No matter how much they were cheating, and if they're going to be cheating at the best, the highest pressure point of the game.
Right.
And if they're at bat and they know what's coming. I mean, they have a tremendous advantage, and even if they're not doing it, and the other teams know they're doing it, I think this is the biggest thing. They have a psychological edge. It's like facing Gaylord Perry. You never knew when he was going to throw a spitball.
Yeah, you know he was going to, though.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what about the pitcher who had a horrible outing against the Astros, and now he wants to sue baseball, not for himself. He wants to get the money to charities. Do you think he has any chance? Because if I'm a lawyer, I'd just say, look, you're not the first major league pitcher who got your lunch handed to you.
I'd like to see if he gets any legal footing. That's going to open Pandora's box. I mean, they'll be lining up from here to Yankee Stadium
right.
to get a shot at the Astros money.
How bad is this? You said you talked to a lot of fans who have feelings about this thing. How is the game beyond repair here, or can something good come out of this in any way, shape, or form?
Well, I think the fans I've talked to still love the game, are still going to watch the game, but I think their trust has been kind of fractured a little bit. I don't think it's like the Black Sox scandal, like people have compared it to that, where the White Sox threw the 1919 World Series,
right.
But I think it has hurt, the integrity. Do you know if you're sitting at home and you're watching a game, any game, is it on the up and up? That's the only really that's the creed of professional sports. Yeah. That's the crux of it.
Well, some guys have bad outings, bad weeks, bad months, or in a slump, but that doesn't mean they're involved in any shenanigans here.
Yeah,
That's just what the game is all
struggling.
about.
But if you're purposely, if you've built an edge into the game, and outside of just plain old eyeball sign stealing,
that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But if you're going to the lengths that the Astros did, that tips the playing field. It's like steroids. A player taking steroids.
You can't be surprised that Pete Rose got his nose into this thing and said, if the commissioner is not going to punish them, why should he be punished? First of all, it's apples and oranges.
Exactly, and. When Manfred came in, when he first took over as commissioner, in 2015, he reviewed Pete's case,
right.
And they found more stuff than ever against him, and that's why he wasn't reinstated. Now Pete is still trying to get in the back door.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that's ever going to work.
216-575-0403. I said the other night on the show that you take a look at, if somebody was on Pete Rose's side, they'd say, well, he never bet on against his team. Well, let's just take a look at it. Let's say there's a 4-game series if he's managing Cincinnati, 4-game series against St. Louis. In the first game, Rose goes ahead and bets on his team. Well, that would tell the bookie that Rose has pretty good confidence that his team's going to win. Second game, he does the same thing. Third game, he does the same thing. Then the fourth game, he says, I'm going to lay off this one. Well, what he's telling the bookie is, I don't think my guy's good enough to win that game.
And then if he's got a bet on the Reds winning, and his starting pitcher is, it's in the 5th inning, he's got a 1-run lead, does he pinch hit for the guy?
Or does he keep him in and blow his arm out?
Blowing his arm out? I mean, and we don't know if Pete how he bet. I don't think it was ever revealed if he bet.
No, but my guess is, watching him talk, my guess is there is no rhyme or reason to what he did.
And I think he's a competitive, he stopped playing and he needed some outlet.
Some action. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at the address you see there, real-levine@gmail.com. Hoynes, what should Commissioner Manfred have done? As far as the World Series title is concerned, as far as players are concerned, did he give immunity to everybody, every player? I think
the immunity, it seems like, to every player with the Astros and the guys who are no longer with the Astros.
All right. So what was available for him to do, and what should he have done?
Well, I think he's kind of in a tough spot. I don't think you can take the World Series title away. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I think Joe Jackson cheated. I mean, he got banned for life, but he still hit 375 in the World Series, in the 1919 World Series.
Right.
They didn't take those numbers away.
Right.
So I think there was precedent there that, Houston keeps the 2017 World Series title, and as far as we know, Boston keeps the 2018 World Series.
Well, go back to the Indians who were in the run for it in 1994. And the Indians, I think, were a game behind Chicago in August when it fell apart. And right now, if you go to look at the, not the standings, but the list of World Series winners, 1994 is just blank, like it didn't happen at all.
Right.
So why couldn't they have done it again?
Well, I guess
there's precedents.
Yeah, but it was a strike year. I mean, they
True.
didn't play because it was a strike.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I just think, that kind of made sense to me when he said that you can't ignore the past. It happened, but as far as it sure seems like the players are skating on this, and I don't know.
The Astros players?
Yeah. Anybody involved in the cheating, and I was surprised, because just reading stories on it, it seemed like a lot of this came from, the baseball operations guys,
Right.
the lower level entry guys, the computer freaks that came up with the code breaker system.
One would think that they were reporting it to somebody.
Yeah, and nothing really happened to those guys. I don't know if those guys are still working for the Astros or did they clean house, but
One might be the next owner.
That's right. So you never heard anything about them, and I was surprised. Perhaps they got immunity too.
Yeah, 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the past 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. When we come back, we'll talk more about Manfred and what he's got to do. He's got a playoff proposal that I don't know of anybody who likes it, but Trevor Bauer for sure doesn't like it. We'll get to that and more with Paul Hoynes. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. Back in a moment with Paul Hoynes exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler-Naquin, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Getting closer to a Paul Hoynes rant. Sal Bando played Warrensville Heights before his family moved to Solon. Mike Krzyzewski. Can you believe that's how he spells it?
Coach K.
Coach K, that's
Coach
good enough.
K.
Cantankerous. Randy Moss seen on the left. Michael Turner and Aqib Dalib, all born on the 13th of February. 216-575-0403. All right, somebody decided to talk to Rob-Manfred, who apparently doesn't know much about baseball either, and say, let's change the playoff structure. They didn't say, let's come up with a salary cap. They didn't do that, but they want to change the playoff structure. Let's take a look at just a couple of points about that as we take a look at the top teams in each league will get a bye. That means in baseball, where you're supposed to play every day, you don't play for 6 or 7 days with a bye, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the gap would be.
Yeah.
The time difference.
The other division winners and top wild card teams will host the bottom 3 wild card teams in a 3-game series. None of them, they'll only be at one place, right?
They would
Won't
all
be home and
at,
home.
Yeah, they would all be at.
So you follow the Indians all year long, and they sneak in and get to that last playoff spot, and you don't get a home game out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that gives the teams, that forces teams, supposedly to play, play their best baseball throughout the season.
And as it turns out, for example, last year in the World Series, the home team didn't win one of the 7 games.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, although given my choice, give me the home field.
Yeah.
And that's not because of the crowd noise or anything. That's because the way the game is played. You'd rather bat last.
Yeah, you got a chance to win in the bottom of the last inning.
All right, how about the television version of the show where they come up and say, general manager says, no, you guys are too good. I'm going to take the bad team over here. I'll take the Red Sox. We'll play them.
Yeah, we're going to have Monty Hall, doing the, and now, I kind of like this, Les. I know people don't like it, but
come on.
I like it because, it gives teams like the Indians a chance every year. I mean, it's the thinking behind the proposal is to stop teams from tanking, to get them to spend more money on players, and if you. And I don't think you have to have a $200 million payroll to win to
right.
qualify. So to me, the Indians have been doing that since for the last 7 years. They've refused to take it down to the floorboards. They've always tried to put a competitive team
right.
out on the field,
no matter what the total salary
right.
is.
And I think this plays into their hands, and I think other teams would follow this. Houston is. Would Houston have gone, taken it right down and, for 3 or 4 years, lost 100 games in a row, for 4 seasons?
You forget they did that.
Yeah, and I mean, it worked out for them,
Yeah.
because they made great drafts and they were ready when
And Kansas City also.
Yeah, Kansas City, So I don't know. I think it would make for a more level playing field, but like you were saying, the one thing. How that the division winner in each league with the best record, how long do they sit? That's the thing.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Bill, who's in North Olmsted. Bill, good evening.
Hey, guys. I know Bobby Thompson denied having any help. Somewhere Ralph Ranka's got to be smiling as to what's been disclosed here. I really agree so much with you, Les. I guess we're the old school guys and fell in love with the game back in the mid-'50s or earlier. But I'm about ready to go to my 38th spring training, and I know this will be my last. And probably I won't renew season tickets after 28 years of having season tickets.
Bill, why is that?
Just the overall fading of baseball of being relevant. I love the game, played in high school and college, certainly groomed my son to play maybe even above that, and it worked out. But there's just too much player movement. There's too much negativism, too many rule changes. I just don't get the same feeling about the game. I mean, still head and shoulders above football and basketball at the professional level.
Bill is Adam Russell's father. Adam Russell played
right,
in the...
yeah,
How many years
Bill.
in the Bigs, Bill?
4 in the Bigs, 11 overall.
Yeah.
But spring training was always so special, and I don't have the same feeling going into it this year.
Well, as soon as they hear the crack of the bat and the ball sailing out of there, maybe it'll change. But I understand exactly what you're saying because I've got a sour taste in my mouth. And because I marveled at what Jose Altuve has been able to do. And Bregman, kind of a different story. And yet these guys were in on the fix. That's the wrong choice of words. Not in on the fix, but in on the scam and scheme. And that just isn't right.
Well, Altuve certainly didn't come across very well today on his short interview, any remorse or whatever. But it's even more than that, Les. I mean, you really start following a guy and all of a sudden he's not there. And somebody asked me recently who my favorite Indian was, and I wanted to say Kluber or Kipnis, and they're not here anymore.
Yeah. Well, that part of it's always...
Dolan's position.
Yeah, that part's always been part of the game, Bill.
Well, it is. But for old timers like you and I, who developed our love for the game, with a different sense of what the game was about, it's fading fast. It's fading fast. Hey, Hoynes, when are you going to be out to spring training?
This weekend I'm going down, Bill.
Well, I won't be going till the 29th. That's 14 days or whatever it is.
Okay.
But
All right.
maybe I'll see somebody else.
Bill,
there.
you sound
But,
really depressed. Come on, it's still the greatest game
Yeah,
ever.
it's still
If
a
you
great
just
game.
It
Just
is.
stay between
It
the
is,
lines.
And I'm coaching my grandson. And in fact, I think unless you met him at Sokolowski's one time, and maybe you'll see him follow in his uncle's footsteps someday. But
Wouldn't that be
I
great?
won't be around to see it.
All right, Bill. Thanks for using my shoulder to cry on. All right, 216-575-0403. Bill's an old-time guy. I mean, he
know.
loves the game, and you can sense it. And I don't have an answer for him because I feel the same way.
Yeah, I just think that what the Astros did, and to the degree they did it to, and maybe even Boston too, I mean, that is shaking people's confidence,
Yeah.
I think.
You know, you wonder, you, just like with the steroid use, you talk about Barry Bonds and say, well, he was a Hall of Famer before he started whatever he did. And you look at Altuve and Bregman and you say, well, they're great players without it. Well, maybe they're not.
Yeah, and we'll find out because they haven't even, well, they're in the prime of their careers, I
Right.
guess. They're probably
Are
approaching
you
it.
expecting to see guys throwing at the batters?
I think
or-
there's going to be some retribution. I just wish it would have happened while all this was going on, because apparently everybody in baseball knew it was
Right.
going on, and they wouldn't brush a guy back. I don't understand it.
Well, and the other thing, guys get traded, guys sign free agent contracts. As soon as Verlander was talking today, as soon as he got there, he knew about. According to him, he was told about it. I would think he would know about it beforehand, but it's kind of, you can't keep it a secret.
Yeah, and Verlander was screaming every time he pitched in Cleveland
Right.
that they were stealing signs. So I don't know.
Depends on what side of the bread is
that's
buttered.
exactly
I guess.
right.
216-575-0403. So in general, you like the new playoff potential format.
Yeah, I do. I think I think it would make the players happy. Or happier, because I think it'll encourage teams. If a team is at 84 wins, they won 84 wins the last season. He goes, well, let's spend a little more money, add this guy, add that guy. If we can get to 86, 88, 89 wins, we're in the postseason.
But you're talking about 7 teams from each league, so that's 14 teams
Yeah, that's
almost half, 14 out of 30. Sounds like hockey to me.
Yeah, it does, and I know it's at 10 right now, so 10 teams make it right now. That the wild cards have been, and another thing, I think, at least the wild cards would now get a 3-game shot,
Right.
instead of
the
one
game,
and done.
one and done is not over.
And so,
The thing about that, the one and done, not only is it the one game, but you use your top pitcher, and if you do go on to the next series, your top pitcher can't pitch to maybe game 4.
yeah, and like 2013, the Indians had to win their last 10 games just to get into the postseason, and then they lose the wild card game,
Right.
and so it's over with, despite playing so well down the stretch.
Well, you've been hearing me talk about Northeast Factory Direct for quite some time now. They are the place to go. Before you even go, check out northeastfactorydirect.com, and you can order kitchen cabinets right off online. You can also go to the 3 great locations: West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, and Freeway Drive. That's in Macedonia. You're going to save a lot of money. Why? Because Alex has learned over the last 20 years that if he keeps his expenses down, he passes the savings on to you. That's exactly what happens. His rent is about 1/10 of what the big box stores are. You don't care what the place looks like. You just want the best quality furniture at the best possible price. That's what you get at Northeast Factory Direct. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the top 50 players in baseball, see where the Indians players rank in that and more. Paul Hoynes is with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate NatureStone's 30-year anniversary with a free NatureStone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making NatureStone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
Just because I'm not $1 million price doesn't mean I'm worthless. We middle prices get zero respect. We're worth hundreds, even thousands. I mean, I'm a handsome bag of money. And there's $110 million worth of us in the Ohio Lottery Cash Celebration scratch-off alone. Plus, the odds of winning are off the chart. 1 in 3.
Play the $30 cash celebration for a chance to win up to $1 million.
You see?
Oh, and lots of prizes between $100 and $1,000.
Everybody wants $1 million. Would $500 be so bad? Come on.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Lindsay, time for a How Come Quickie. How come people who don't know anything about baseball, like Astros owner Jim Crane, will be deciding things like, putting a runner on second to start the 10th inning, the DH rule, among others. So guys like that who know nothing about baseball are going to make decisions for our game, the American game.
That's a little scary. They bought their way in.
Yeah.
I guess their money talks.
They're in the club.
Yep.
They're in the club. Hey, speaking of that, anything new on a minority owner being brought in by Paul Dolan? I know he's been trying. Is anything close?
I have not heard. I haven't asked anyone that since John Sherman bought the Royals. I have not asked. No, I don't know. I have to
get
check
on that and
Yeah,
have us an answer by next week.
Yeah.
All right. Bleacher Report has put out their top 50 players. Let's take a look at the top 10 in their minds. It's position players as well as pitchers. They got Mike Trout, number 1. Mookie Betts now with the Dodgers. Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger. Alex Bregman is 5th. Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, Jacob DeGrom, Francisco-Lindor, number 9, including pitchers. And Nolan Arenado, who is maybe the best player nobody's ever seen. When you play out in Coors Field, you don't get seen nationally too much.
Yeah, he's really a good player.
Any objections to any of those guys in the top 10?
No, I've got nothing. I like Scherzer, but he was hurt last year. But I think Scherzer should probably be up in there, right around somewhere in the top 10.
All right, let's take a look. 14 through 50. Not all of them. We skipped around here to pick out players in the Indians division and maybe that have played with the Indians. So there you see it. Josh Donaldson, who the Indians had for a bid in September a couple of years ago. Strasburg is number 18. Bryce Harper, with all that money, number 25. And Moncada, look at the White Sox, 3 guys in a row.
Yeah.
And White Sox might be pretty good. Jose-Ramirez, number 45 on the list of Bleacher Report, and then Mike-Clevinger is number 50. Yeah. Anybody in there that you don't agree with, or you do agree with?
I think Clevinger has a chance to make a big jump.
Right.
I think he's going to be a Cy Young candidate if he.
This year?
Yeah, if he stays healthy, I think he's All-Star and a Cy Young candidate.
How about the fact that you got Corey Kluber, who's no longer with the Indians, won 2 Cy Youngs. He's not in the top 50 list. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's left over from the injury, I'd assume.
Yeah, and he had. The injury kind of takes you out of that.
You wrote the other day on the Mookie Betts deal that will might have implications as far as the Lindor potential deal that Chris Antonelli may or may not make.
Yeah, I think it. Everyone was saying you've got to trade Lindor now. I was saying it. This is the best time to do it
because he
for
had
the
2
biggest
years.
return. Yeah, because he has 2 years left. I think with what Boston got for Betts and David Price, Verdugo, and 2 prospects, and they dumped $48 million.
Right.
I think that's got to give the Indians some encouragement that they could still get a good package for Lindor if they keep him for the full year. If, let's say, they're in contention all year, this upcoming season here, and maybe you trade him in the offseason with 1 year left, because you're not going to have him tied to a dead weight contract like Price, where you're just dumping his salary.
Right.
And I think that therefore you're going to get your return should be bigger.
He's going to be peppered with questions all season long. How's he handling it, and do you think it'll affect the way he plays the game?
That's a great question, Les, and I don't know, because he at Tribe Fest, he answered the questions, but he was bobbing and weaving more than I've ever seen him, and this isn't going to end. I think if this was New York, I think it would be constant.
Right.
It would never let up.
Yeah, but every time there's a series, the media on the other side is going to be asking.
So I think, I think he'll handle it well. I think, this is something, basically that started last year. He turned down the $100 million multi-year deal from the Indians after his first full season, I think, in 2017. So he's been dealing with this off and on.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. We're halfway through. Hoynes, he's about 20 minutes away from another classic rant. They're all classic, right? We just immediately we waived the 5-year fee and then just put them immediately into the Hall of Fame. That's coming up a little bit later. You can explore your interests and find a program that suits your needs and lead you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. The Indians have a couple of position battles, mostly in the starting rotation and in the outfield. Hoynes and I will take a look at that when we get back. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler-Naquin, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Today in sports history, a sad day back in 1964. Ken Hubbs, a terrific young second baseman, dies in a plane crash at the age of 22. Do you remember that?
I do not remember that.
Yeah, 1964. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Don't forget Dave Bacon's show tomorrow night. That'll be Weekend Winners here from 6 until 7 p.m. I'll be on 92.3 The Fan tomorrow from 10 until 2. I'll be there Monday from 11 till 3, and then Friday again from 10 until 2. I'll be in with Jeff Phelps. Monday by myself on 92.3 The Fan. All right, we said position battles, but we don't really mean position. We mean roster spots, and the starting rotation pretty much settles out as to what it's going to be. When you look at those names, does it surprise you how well all of them pitched for the Indians last year?
You know, it does, because how often does that happen? How often do you call up guys like
bring up
Plesac?
3. If you get 2 doing well, you're thrilled.
And Plesac and Civale pitched so well. Plutko did a nice job, and Rodriguez, you know, ate some innings until he got hurt.
Okay, assuming Carlos-Carrasco is okay, you got Clevinger, Bieber, and Carrasco. Then you need 2 of the next 4 or 5 guys. Who do you see as the starting rotation opening up the season?
Yeah, I've been kicking this around. I think Plesac. I think it's going to be Plutko and Plesac at the back end.
Okay.
I think Civale.
Back into the rotation.
Yeah, back into the rotation. And I think Civale will probably go to AAA and start and build some innings and just stay ready in case what happened last year.
How tough is that for a young guy like him who did well, probably in the offseason thought he made the team, and now he's looking at the numbers and he may be the one that's caught short?
Yeah, well, the key there is Plutko. He's out of options now. He could also pitch into the bullpen.
Right.
If they put Plutko in the bullpen, then Civale and Plesac are the guys who will probably make it. So I think it depends on how the spring goes. But, you know, you've got to have starters at AAA pitching every day, starting, so they're stretched out and ready.
Well, let's take a look at Zach-Plesac, see what he did last year in the 2019 season. 115 innings pitched, an 8-6 record, 3.81 ERA, 88 strikeouts and 40 walks. That's a good ratio.
Yeah, probably a lot of walks. Probably one too many walks. I mean, a little heavy on the walks.
He had a shutout game last year. Now let's continue on and see what we have. Aaron-Civale, the name you brought up. And 57 innings, 3-4 record, 2.34 ERA, 46 Ks and 16 walks.
Yeah. I mean, I've had scouts tell me that Plesac and Civale, they like them both because they throw strikes. You know, they're not breaking the sound barrier. They're not throwing 99, 98, 100 miles an hour, but they throw just hard enough. They throw strikes and they don't get rattled.
Adam-Plutko, the guy you mentioned is out of options. Here you have 109 innings, 7-5 record. 4.86 ERA, 76 strikes, and it's a 3-to-1 ratio, 26 walks on that. You know, baseball's changed. They now look at home runs and launch angles and all that stuff. How about pitching? They don't count the wins and losses are, I don't want to say meaningless, but they're almost meaningless.
Yeah, and wins, you know, you see guys with 11 wins winning a Cy Young. DeGrom, how many wins did DeGrom have last year?
Not a lot.
I mean, and for 2 years in a row he's won the Cy Young because he pitches innings, he strikes out batters, you know, has a low ERA, you know, and keeps his team in games. And, you know, that's kind of the criteria now.
What about Jefry-Rodriguez?
You know, Rodriguez is a guy, if he's healthy, I think he's a swing guy, and he could also help them in the bullpen. He pitched, you know, out of the bullpen a little bit last year and with Washington the year before.
There's one you don't want to look at his win-loss record. It was 1-5.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell the whole story.
He was, I think he may have been a little kind of, he came up when when Clevinger got hurt, kind of forced him in there. I don't know if he was ready, and then he kind of got hurt, and he was pitching, you know, with the sore shoulder for a while before they shut him down.
You got the bullpen, and of course you got the new rule where you have to face at least 3 batters. So it'll be interesting how Francona works that. But you've got Brad Hand, who was tremendous for about 2/3 of the season, then struggled quite a bit.
Yeah.
Adam-Plutko and emmanuel-clase, Hunter Wood, Phil Maton, Nick Whitgren, Oliver Perez, who was a one-batter pitcher but may not be anymore. Karinchak can throw 100, right?
Right.
And James Hoyt. Do you look for any additions to that bullpen roster?
I think there's going to be, they'll have some help in the bullpen. I mean, guys like Civale or Plutko, you know, there's, you know, Scott Moss, a couple guys they got in the Trevor Bauer trade. Logan Allen. I mean, those are starters that maybe could fit into the pen. And you know, a guy like Nick Sandlin, one of their high draft picks from 2 years ago, is coming off arm surgery. He could be up there at some time during the season.
Somebody has to emerge as a starting outfielder, right?
Yeah, you would hope.
With 9 or 10 guys on the list right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mercado is a starting outfielder. Okay. I just don't know where he's going to play. And I don't think they do either.
No, you would assume center field because that's where he played most of the year last year, but maybe not.
But maybe not because, you know, with Delino DeShields is a very good center fielder defensively, and they're talking about Mercado bouncing around at all 3 spots. So
if you had to predict opening day lineup, who's the right-handed pitcher going against him? What do you see?
Right-handed hitter.
Just the outfield.
The outfield, I think it could be. Well, maybe you stick a lefty in there. Maybe you stick Bowers in left field. But I think it's going to be Reyes in right, and no, I think it'd be all right-handed hitting outfield. Mercado, DeShields, and Reyes.
Okay, even if it's a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
All right. What about the injuries, guys? Tyler-Naquin and Bradley-Zimmer.
Naquin is making progress. He thinks he should be ready just around opening day, but I think they'll be cautious with him. Zimmer is no restrictions going to camp. This is going to be his first camp with, coming off the shoulder surgery where he's been healthy.
Well, Northeast Factory Direct, the place to go, whether it's kitchen cabinets, whatever it is, furniture, hot tubs. It's a good time to get hot tubs, mattresses, and beds. All from Northeast Factory Direct with 3 great locations, West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard, as well as Freeway Drive in Macedonia. It's east, west, and south is where you're going to find it, and you want to see what's on there and how much you're going to pay. How about checking out northeastfactory.com for more information. Sokolowski University Inn. I'm astounded at the demographics of the people going in, whether it's 18 years old or 88 years old. They please everybody, something for everybody at Sokolowski's University Inn. Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant. They're featured in every publication that talks about food in Northeast Ohio. It's Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. When we come back with Paul Hoynes, we've got a Facebook question of the day and your responses. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature's Stone and never replace your basement flooring again. Your concrete is uneven, damp, and not healthy. Carpet and tile don't last, breed mold and mildew, and give worthless warranties. Nature's Stone permanently corrects uneven concrete and is not affected by dampness or moisture. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of February. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's check out this date in Les-Levine sports history and the week in review. 1964, the only thing Les could do well on a basketball court was his ability to shoot foul shots. He tells a friend if they would just, he would be a good player if they would make foul shots worth 2 and 18-footers worth 3. 30 years later, that's almost what they did.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Let's look at the week in review. 1969, after learning the United States was going to land somebody on the moon, Les asked the science teacher if they could try for the sun. He was told it would be too hot, so Les said, well, why don't they just go at night? Right? It's a little cooler.
Boom, boom.
Let's see what else we have. Oh, Les and his frat brother, Marty, were fixed up with dates. They met in the dorm lobby, and and when Marty's date asked, are you Marty? He said, how soon do you need to know? And he ran out of the building. Didn't work out well for him. Worked out well for her. February 12th, how come absolutely nothing ever happened in Les-Levine history on February 12th? Writers took the night off on that one. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We have a Facebook question of the day. Let's take a look at what we have here. Are apologies enough for the Houston Astros? Glenn Berger says, most people only apologize after they're caught. I'd like to see more punishment dealt out to the Astros, like starting the season with 8 losses. I realize punishment is convoluted, but this is the first time teams have admitted they've cheated. Severe punishment is in order. Rick May says, no, you can probably get their attention by hitting them in the wallet. It's not just ownership. Find the players as well, and be sure this is brought up when they become Hall of Fame eligible. Let them know that they'll get in right after Shoeless Joe Jackson is enshrined. Wow.
Yeah. Carlos Beltran is on the ballot.
Yeah. Larry Pantages says nobody can change what happened on the field, but a plaque with several paragraphs of detail can be permanently installed in Cooperstown with a trash can lid and a buzzer and a glass case, and then leave the room on the same wall for the stories of Pete Rose and the steroid era, too. Well, people are not happy. They are not happy. All right, got the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Don't forget about that. If you can't catch us when we do the show live, and we do the show live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but if you're watching it in the middle of the night or middle of the morning for that matter, you can call the voicemail of Truth and Reason, leave us a message, 216-200-6650. Leave a message and we'll argue with you on the phone. It's kind of disconcerting. I start arguing with these people and I say, wait a minute, this is a tape.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And they always get a shot in, and you want to get a shot back. And
Yeah.
You're not talking to anybody. You're
not talking to anybody. It's a little disconcerting. All right, we're not ready yet for your rant, but you got it in the chamber going?
I think so.
You think so?
You never know.
Does it qualify as an all-timer? I mean, I had a quickie the other night that we were just going to waive the 5-year limit and just put the quickie in.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. How come if skier Peekaboo Street gave $3 million to a hospital, they would name the unit the Peekaboo ICU? Goes right in.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Just in general, we had the rankings of how the teams would do winning-wise. I forget who put that out.
Pacoda
did.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So they had the Indians at 86 wins. Last year they had 93. The Indians struggled against Chicago, although Chicago wasn't very good last year.
Right.
But their record looked better because of the fact they played the Indians 18 or 19 times. What do you think? Is 86 about the right number? And what will it take to win the division?
You know, I think those, when you look at how Pacoda comes up with that, it's a range. You know, they play like, you know, all these simulations, about 1,000 simulations.
Right.
And that's the range of wins. So it could be a little below that or a little past that. A little more than that. I think they've got a chance to win 88 to like 91, 92 games.
Based on pitching?
Yeah, and I think you know, a lot depends on. I think Reyes is going to help them just being in the lineup all year. You know, this is a guy that could hit 40 home runs.
Right.
And hopefully they get the real Jose-Ramirez, not the guy that had the 500 at bat slump. You know, over the last
500
year.
500 bats is not a slump.
No, I know, that's a season.
Yeah.
So you know, they kind of disappeared and kind of came on, then got hurt last year. So hopefully he's back.
What will there be a player we're not thinking of? And my guess would be it's an outfielder. But who do you think? I mean, you know what the infield is going to be. Who do you think is going to jump out at people from the outfield?
I think if Luplow gets a chance, I think to play against righties, I think he could be kind of the sleeper in the outfield, because he really hammered lefties last year.
Will Lindor have a big year?
I think he'll have, you know, a Lindor year. He'll hit between 280, 285 and 300. I think he's going to hit 25 to 30 home runs. I think he'll drive in anywhere from 80 to 90 RBIs, depending if they keep him in a leadoff spot or they drop him down.
And he will laugh all the way to the bank.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I think he's in a perfect spot, and I think he's a good player. I mean, he's probably the best, you know, player that they produced since Manny Ramirez, I think. Best offensive player, position player. And I think he just loves to play, and I don't think this is going to bother him too much.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll check out how come quickies that have come in and responses to that. Then we got a Hoynesy rant to take us to the top of the hour. Back in a moment, more sports in Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of February. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. You know, I asked you in the last segment if there's any sleepers in the outfield. We got a guy, Toledo Mike, who started out slow in the quickie department. There's an oxymoron there, slow in the quickie department. But he's come on strong. You be the judge of this.
Okay.
How come when I go to a restaurant, I always ask for a table near a waiter?
That's pretty good.
It's excellent.
7.5 on
7.5. Let's see what else we have. If the paper sticks to each other, it's usually good. Mr. Gullible. Did you know he's got a favorite baseball player from Star Wars?
No.
You know what his name was? Vader Pinson. Remember Vader Pinson?
Sure, yeah.
Most I remember is, and he wound up being a coach for the Indians too. He's a great outfielder for Cincinnati and played with the Indians. He had the shiniest spikes anybody ever had.
Didn't he have a terrible collision with somebody in the outfield when he played for the Indians? I forget.
You might
Larry
be thinking,
Brown and him?
No, you're thinking of Daddy Wags,
Oh,
Leon
okay.
Wagner
All
and
right.
Larry Brown. Thought Larry Brown was going to get killed that night.
Yeah.
How come Blackjack McDowell didn't stick his finger in the air to see which way the wind was blowing? Am I missing something on that? Maybe. John Patrick. How come they said I was nonchalant? I've got plenty of chalant. What is chalant? No idea?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. Going to find that out, though. All right, that takes us up to a Paul Hoynes rant time. Just give me the subject so I know what to prepare for. Or is it going to change in midstream?
It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of.
One I'm going to say, I didn't see that one coming. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last chance before he goes on to Goodyear, Arizona. He'll be back. He's not going forever. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. Here with a nightly rant, and a classic one at that. Here's Paul Hoynes.
You know, Les is, you know, it's that time of year again. You know, I'm going a little crazy. I've had it with the winter. You know, I'm getting a little stir crazy. I've seen all the TV shows. I've seen all the commercials, and to be frank, you know, I'm kind of obsessed with a couple of these commercials. You know, a couple of commercials, like, you know, the one on the cruise ship where you know, Grace Slick and the Jefferson Airplane are you know, singing White Rabbit, and the girl goes through like she's going on a trip. You know, White Rabbit, that's about, you know, eating magic mushrooms and going on a trip. Now, you know, I love the song, I love Grace Slick, but am I getting on a cruise ship that some captain is going to eat psychedelic mushrooms, and where are we going? We're going to circle around the Caribbean? I had some concerns about that. And then there's another one. With Jimmy Dean. You know Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage. Yeah. Jimmy Dean. I like it. I like when he sang Big Bad John. You know, that was a great song. But you know, I'm sitting there thinking, you know, Jimmy Dean. This was. He sang Big Bad John down in the 1960s, you know, and now he's doing, you know, commercials for sausage. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know, how old is this guy? So I looked it up. Jimmy D's been dead since 2010.
And he's still doing commercials.
And he's still doing commercials. Now, you know, I got nothing against Jimmy Dean. I like Big Bad John, but I'm not sure I want a dead guy, you know, advertising my breakfast, you know, my breakfast sausage to me. And so, you know, this thing has really gotten a hold of me. It's, you know, I've been kind of, you know, like my mind has been spinning around on it. But then finally a light went on, Les. Finally a light went on. I said, hey, you know, this might be able to work. This could work something. Take the Indians. Now, what if the Indians, you know, kind of channeled all their late great players and did kind of the same thing, you know? Shoeless Joe Jackson. You know, there's probably, you know, some sound clips about him back, you know, where he's talking. So let's say the Indians splice it together and they have, you know, Joe, you know, talking about the team. He goes, Shoeless Joe, hey, Tribe fans, come down to Progressive Field for the season. And, you know, I guarantee you I won't throw a World Series yet. Or you could have Jimmy Pearsall. You know, Jimmy Pearsall do the same thing, and you know, kind of he could tell Tribe fans, hey, Tribe fans, come down to the ballpark, watch me run around the bases backwards after I hit a home run. Or you could have Stanley Kovaliski. You know, Stanley Kovaliski in 1920 won 3 games in the 1920 World Series, helped the Indians win their first World Series, and you know, Stanley Kovaliski could say just, you know, he could tell the Tribe fans, he goes, hey, Trevor Bauer, stick it. You know, I won 3 games in the World Series by throwing the best spitball, one of the best spitballs in baseball history. And so Tribe fans, come down to the ballpark and see if any of these mopes can match my spin rate. Or you could say, you know, or you could talk to, you know, Leon Daddy Wags. Daddy Wags is, you know, after he retired, you know, he opened a clothing store, and the great advertisement of the clothing store was, get your rags at Daddy Wags. So Daddy Wags, if they, you know, put his voice out there, he could say, Tribe fans, after you buy your rags at Daddy Wags, come down to the ballpark. You know, Les, the possibilities are endless on this. They're endless. Who knew? Voices from the dead, a new marketing tool.
I didn't see that coming. You know, Hal Lebovitz told me this, and I've not been able to check it out, but it's one of those things, if it's a great story, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. So the Indians trade and get Jimmy Pearsall, great center fielder between Ted Williams and whoever, Jackie Jensen, I would guess. But Fear Strikes Out was based on his life. And Hal said that they always had doubleheaders on Sunday, and Pearsall would, in the second inning of the second game, would always get himself thrown out, get into an argument with the umpire, get himself thrown out. And they found out he was traded from Boston. His family was back in Boston. He had a standing reservation on an airplane at 6:15. And if he got thrown out of the game 2, or inning number 2 in the second game, he could make that flight okay. So one day the manager figured it out. And he goes to the umpires. They exchange batting orders for the second game. And he says, Pearsall's going to try to get himself thrown out in the second inning. Whatever you do, don't throw him out of the game. So Pearsall's in the on-deck circle, and there's a pitch that was thrown to the other batter, and Pearsall starts yelling at the umpire about how that pitch was not a strike and all that stuff. And Pearsall goes out to the umpire, goes face-to-face with him, and he's not going to throw him out. Now the manager has to go out and protect his guy. He goes out, and the umpire throws the manager out of the game. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a great story.
Great.
All right, anything you got about a minute? Anything you want to add to the proceedings here?
I think the Indians are getting real close to signing Domingo-Santana. Okay. I think it should be.
Add one more to our list.
One more outfielder to the list. He went through his physical, and he should probably sign about Friday. I think they'll announce it Friday.
Potentially a starter?
Potentially. I don't, you know, I can't see with Reyes and Santana in the same outfield. You don't want that to happen. So maybe he's starting at DH.
Maybe they should put the shift on and put like the shortstop out in left center field.
Yeah.
Like softball teams would do.
That's right, yeah.
That would not be, you know, for Francona, who loves defense and all, this might be a little rough on him.
Yeah, I think one of those guys has got a DH, you know, Reyes or if they sign Santana.
Right. All right, Hoynes, have a great trip. We'll see you when you get back. Right? We'll give you a couple weeks off here, and then while you're sitting in the sun, you can come up with rants and reenact them. We'll bring live people, though, this time.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks to the great Paul Hoynes. I'll see you Monday. Dennis Maniloff will be with us tomorrow. I'm on 92.3 The Fan from 10 until 2 with Jeff Phelps. We'll see you then. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.